There's a place most maps don't bother to name anymore. A scrap of green in a blue desert. An island that once tried to do something no other society dared. It tried to live without money.
But this isn't a story about utopia. It's a story about what happens when an idea collides with the world that forgot how to dream.
When you look at the satellite image, the island barely registers, about 8 kilometers across, somewhere between Indonesia and the Philippines. The locals call it Pulau Jaya, the Island of Victory. The name is a cruel joke now.
Back in the 1970s, Pulau Jaya was a forgotten outpost. But it had something most places didn't: a teacher named Suryanto Wiran.
Suryanto had studied economics in Jakarta, where he saw corruption eating everything from inside. Money, he said, had become a god that demanded human sacrifice. So when he returned to his island, he brought an impossible idea. What if we just stopped believing in money? At first, people laughed. Then they listened, because life on Pulau Jaya wasn't easy. By 1978, the Island Council voted to abolish currency altogether. Instead of cash, they built what they called the book. By 1978, the Island Council voted to abolish currency altogether. Instead of cash, they built what they called the book. Outsiders called it naive, but inside Pulau Jaya, something extraordinary happened. Crime dropped to almost zero. Children went back to school. When storms hit, everyone rebuilt together. For a few fleeting years, Pulau Jaya became a living argument against the world's most powerful idea. In 1982, an Australian mining company discovered nickel deposits. Government officials arrived with contracts and development promises. They offered cash, a lot of it, to whoever would sign. That's how the first fracture appeared. By 1984, Pulau Jaya had split in two: the north, where the mine operated, and the south, where the old system clung on. Suryanto tried to mediate, but he was shouted down. He left the island soon after.
A decade later, the mine was exhausted. The company left. So did the money. What remained was something worse than poverty: confusion. The book was abandoned, its pages eaten by mold. When I first heard this story, I thought it was a myth. But the more I dug, the more traces appeared. A 1979 newspaper mentioned the island. An NGO worker remembered visiting, and in the National Archives, a photograph: 3 old men holding a ledger. When you talk to the elders still alive today, they don't romanticize it. They said, "We weren't saints, we just trusted each other." She said when money returned, so did secrets and envy. People began to close their doors again. Economists might dismiss Pulau Jaya as a failed experiment, but that depends on how you define success. For 7 years, every person on that island ate, worked, and survived without a single coin. Maybe it couldn't last forever. Maybe no system can. But it happened, and that matters. In 2017, a traveler uploaded a shaky phone video. Children playing on the beach, shouting, "It's your turn to give." It's just a game now, but somewhere inside that game is the ghost of an idea. And that's the haunting beauty of Pulau Jaya. For one brief heartbeat of history, a small island believed that trust was enough. And for a time, it was. Maybe that's the real currency of humanity. Not gold or paper or numbers, but the fragile belief that we can take care of one another without keeping score. Because somewhere out there, beyond the edges of the map, the waves are still erasing the footprints of a people who tried. And maybe that's worth remembering.